Hi guys, my name is Dr. Josephine Grace Chua Rojo, and today we will talk about DCR healing protocol. So, what is DCR healing protocol? So, it's actually a protocol that we've made, practiced by me and my brothers and some of our followers, wherein we entail to have some major changes in our metabolic markers in just a matter of 7 cycles of DCR healing protocol, or equivalent to approximately 24 days. So, what is DCR healing protocol? It is a cycle of 1 day dry fasting, second day clean fasting, and third day of refeeding. Whenever we are dry fasting, we do not consume any fluids at all, and followed by clean fasting, wherein we consume fluids, tea, coffee, electrolytes, and other necessary fluids that won't break our ketosis and at the same time autophagy. We do it in a cycle of 7 cycles. We start by Sunday. So Sunday is our day zero, wherein we end our food intake as well as water intake, say for example around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we sleep through the night, going through the whole day of Monday, not drinking anything, and comes 6 o'clock in the evening, we are already allowed to take some fluids, water, mineral water, soda water, sparkling water, coffee, tea, some electrolytes in the form of sodium, potassium, or sometimes magnesium if we do some physical activities, and that clean fasting where we allow ourselves to consume unflavored and non-calorie containing drinks will resume for another 24 hours, wherein comes Tuesday 6 p.m. we are already allowed to eat should we want to eat. And we usually break our fast with bone broth and then some probiotics before we proceed with our main meal, which is mostly protein rich. It could be a chicken, lean meat, beef, or even pork. So those are our cycle. And comes Wednesday, we eat normally, still low carb, but prioritizing proteins with a good amount of good fats. And we resume another cycle by ending our mealtime and water intake depending on how we want it. Usually we close it around 4 o'clock to around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, so that by Thursday is another cycle of dry fasting, and we can already take some fluids the moment we reach our 24 hours. And comes Friday, we do another clean fasting, and we already break it and allow ourselves to eat still protein rich foods, starting with bone broth or some broth, something light to prepare our stomach. And in here, we do a 2 days refeeding during the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because that's what fits our working schedule. But if you want, say, for example, you want to do a strict cycle of dry, clean, and refeeding, you can actually complete this 7 cycles in a matter of 21 days. But since we accommodate weekends for our refeeding, we do this in a weekly basis, thus spanning a whole 24 days, wherein per week we'll have 2 cycles. So that is equivalent to 3.5 weeks. So why do we do dry fasting? We do dry fasting for 7 cycles. This is actually inspired by Phoenix Protocol. Phoenix Protocol is a full 1 week protocol of dry fasting, of not consuming anything at all. I tried this earlier in this year, and I understand it really sounds extreme for the majority of people, even for my family. So I want them to experience at least part of the benefits without going through the risk, without going through the struggle and the very challenges of dry fasting, which is not for everyone, especially those with existing conditions. So instead of lumping the full 7 days of dry fasting in 1 week, we distributed it in 7 cycles, thus the DCR protocol. If you're wondering of the possible reasons why people do dry fasting, in simpler terms, it is just to clean our body of all the toxins, and of course, including the unnecessary fats and proteins that piles up as we live through the years. How am I able to survive 7 days of dry fasting? This is because our fat cells will not just be burned and produce energy. Whenever we do dry fasting, our fat cells are actually being forced to be burned, not just to produce energy in the form of ketones, but also to produce metabolic water, or the purest form of metabolic water. During the full cycle of dry fasting, your body is in fat burning mode because of two needs. That is the need for energy and the need for metabolic water. Per gram of fat burned is equivalent to about 1 milliliter of water produced. That is the general equation, and that is actually a very simplistic way for us to understand that even if there are times that we are not drinking so much water, our body is capable of producing its own water. And doing so, according to the book of Phoenix Protocol, it can promote cellular regeneration and stem cell renewal. So that is like a promise that these Russian scientists promoted when they first discovered it 40 to 50 years ago. But enough for the Phoenix Protocol. We will make another set of video about that. It's just that this way we do it in a more acceptable way, wherein there's very, very minimal risk, especially for those who are doing it for healing. So the first 24 hours of cycle, it might sound challenging not being able to drink any form of fluids for the full 24 hours. But actually, you won't feel that it's already a full 24 hours. We dedicated Monday as our dry fasting because Monday is a usual working day and a very busy day for us. So that's why after we sleep at night of Sunday and then when we wake up in the morning comes Monday, we usually tend to be very busy and we easily lost track of time. Before we know it, we are already due to consume our water. In fact, there are many times that we are able to drink our water way past our 24-hour mark because we've been so preoccupied. So after surviving dry fasting of 24 hours, water feels so good and so pleasurable. You'll never think water could taste really that good. And so after that, we are already allowed to drink some fluids, maybe some flavors coming from tea or some very light coffee. Although for me personally, I cannot tolerate coffee after a dry fast because the effect of caffeine, since I am caffeine intolerant, is even worse, which results for me to having insomnia and having trouble sleeping. But when I don't take any coffee after breaking my dry fast, I can sleep really well, just like my usual sleeping time. And how can we survive the second day of clean fasting, of not consuming still any calorie containing foods or drink, just plain water and some electrolytes? This is because you've already survived the 24-hour dry fast. And after surviving that 24-hour dry fast, you will already feel the pleasure of being able to drink fluids, especially cold fluids, especially here in the Philippines where it's very humid, it's very hot, it can feel like summer all year round. And that's why second day is somewhat easy, especially if you started earlier in your cycle because you are also allowed to break your fast earlier within the day. So initially we started ending our fast around 6 o'clock or late night, but now we are ending it as early as possible. Some 1 o'clock, some 2 o'clock, some 4 o'clock in the afternoon because the reward that you will be able to break your dry fast and your clean fast on the Mondays and Tuesdays and also Thursdays and Fridays for our cycle is just so rewarding. Of course, there are challenging parts in this cycle wherein in our experience, we experience hunger and thirst during the usual meal times that we have, like 12 noon and around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and also during the time that we are dry fasting, we feel somewhat sleepy, needing some naps in between the day. But productivity wise, we can still be productive. Although for me, I've had trouble somewhat concentrating since I need to study during these times, but I cannot focus so much, but I still get to be productive only on other things that doesn't need so much attention and things that are needing my full attention. Otherwise, we are somewhat productive and still able to do the tasks that we intend to do during the day. And for the benefits, of course, coming from our previous cycle, because this time is already our second series, and from our previous series a couple of months ago, we were able to normalize our LDL, we were able to lower our HbA1c, and right now with our body score in our bioimpedance scale, we've improved our total body score, we've lowered down our visceral fats by 2 points. Normal would be below 10. Mine is already 4, coming from 5. My brother's coming from 11, now at 8, both of them. And of course, the total body fat is already within normal range. And also, our BMI is also within normal range. And most importantly, our muscle mass actually increased. My proteins and muscle mass have always been low, but right now it is already in the mid normal range because during our dry, clean, and refeeding cycles, we still do some physical activities. Personally, I do some pull ups or jump ropes and some stationary biking whenever my time and schedule allows me to, but it's not that consistent, maybe approximately 4 to 5 times a week, but generally nothing extreme. So, somewhat according to my brothers, and somewhat for those who have been doing this with us and been following up with us, they are able to finish it without so much struggle. And most importantly, they were able to reap the benefits as well. They've never felt lighter, they've never felt more energetic, and they've never felt healthier than before. As a reminder, this is not for everyone. It shouldn't be done without medical supervision. And most importantly, even if it's a healing protocol, it should be with the right mindset and with the right preparation. This is just for educational purposes as well as for our documentation purposes. Right now, we will check our ketones as we end our fifth cycle of this series. Perfect. So both of us are actually in the high range of therapeutic ketosis. So the lower the GKI, the higher the nutritional ketosis. So Bobby at 1.1 and me at 0.8. So usually we have higher result if we stick to lowest amount of carb as possible during our last meal intake. And so far, this record is good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.